Just your screams, Anthony Smith has not grown dreadlocks for this one. I am joined, of course, by the one, the only, my former opponent, a very good friend of mine, an absolute legend when it comes to mixed martial arts, the one and only Sugar Rashad Evans. Rashad, my man, thanks for your time, brother.
Michael Bisping, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Let's go. You know, so I'm sitting there on my balcony last night, and a mutual friend of ours, Chris from Fit Soda, he texts me about about a drink, and then I get the notes for the podcast today from Harrington, my producer, and I'd seen this anyway. I'm like, why did I not think about asking Rashad? Because you are coming back to the ring, to the squared circle with a former opponent, the one and only Quentin Rampage Jackson. Talk to me about what's going on, Rashad.
Yeah, after me and Rampage did the podcast, we had a good podcast, but we started to talk, and he talked about the whole thing that happened between him and Shannon, how the fight didn't end up going through, how he got in great shape. And now that he's got in great shape, he's got his diet under control, he's feeling strong, he's feeling good. He was talking about getting in some rounds, and he said, I don't want it to go to waste. And I'm like, dude, say less. say less. Me and Rampage, we've had we had a tumultuous, crazy relationship in the beginning, but we did the movie together. We were, German twins, and after that, we kind of had a chance to talk things out and kind of establish a relationship. But there's still that competitive edge, because even when we're doing a show, even when we're doing a movie, we'll be doing workouts, and we'll find ourselves, competing a little bit, just doing a little workout, so.
What was the movie?
The movie is Boss Level.
Yeah.
Boss Level. Yeah.
No,
Joe. Oh, okay.
No, Joe Carnahan. I'll tell you a funny story. Yeah. I actually auditioned for a part in that film. They didn't give it to me. They fucked me off. I don't even think they considered me for a second. And then I saw you and Rampage in it. I'm like, these bastards. Mate, that's awesome. So obviously you and Rampage fought UFC 114, MGM Grand. I was the co-main event. I fought Dan Miller, so I helped Rampage train for that one. You got the win in that one. You used your wrestling. Yeah. You've been retired for a little bit, Rashad now. So how are you feeling about this fight?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling confident. It's a boxing match, so I feel when it comes down to it, he's complained in the past the fact that I beat him, and the only reason why I beat him is because I was able to wrestle. And he talks about the third round, how he had me dazed and had me skating on ice, and how I barely survived. And I've had to listen to this for years, so that right there is motivating enough, Mike. It's like one of those things where it's like, listen, I'm gonna try to dog walk his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna get on him, man, because he hit me in the third and he had a little bit of power, but at the end of the day, like I feel like when it comes down to where I am right now, as far as my understanding of the striking and my ability to strike, I feel that I'm gonna walk him down.
You're gonna dog walk the wolf, man. That's brilliant. Hey, you got to watch that power though, buddy. The last thing to go is the power. I know you take care of yourself. You are a true athlete. You are a new person these days from the person you used to be. We've spoke about that many times. But he's still a dangerous old boy.
No, he is. And that's one of the things that, I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure I really take it serious and make sure that I do all the steps, because it's just one thing, like going in here and coming back at my age is always one of those things where it's like, you know what I'm saying? It could be embarrassing if you don't do it right. It can be very embarrassing. It can work against you if you don't do it right. And that's something that I had to weigh in my mind. Like, is it even worth it? As if I don't perform my best? But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to make sure I perform my best. I'm going to make sure that I bring my best to the table. I'm going to make sure I'm at my best, and I'm going to be serious about it, So it's really something fun to look forward to, and we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So this is going to be one championship, right, in the American show in Chicago?
I'm not sure where it's going to be, but we're working something out with one. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to me about how the body's feeling, Rashad, because I'm 45, Rampage is 45. What are you, 44?
I'm 44 right now. Yeah, 44.
Son of a bitch, 44. The man's younger than me. How's the body feeling? Because I'll be honest, mine's falling apart at the seams. But you take great care of yourself these days.
Mike, I once I took some time off and I just cut back on the impact of what I was doing. Less hard rounds, more technical rounds. And sometimes, I'm not even getting those rounds in, but I just allow my body to just take the time off it needs to take off. I don't push it when it's feeling worn down. If it's feeling run down, I'll take a few days off. But I know just my mindset, by the end of the week, I'm jonesing to get back in there. So I just make sure I stay pretty consistent, but I don't go crazy with it. And I don't try to overdo it. I'm very well aware of the fact that I get my biggest gains when I rest more versus when I try to push through.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's only with age and experience you realize that, because when you're kids, it's like, let's go,
yeah.
push, harder. Sometimes you just got to step off the gas. If you were talking, because you've been around mixed martial arts at the highest level, you've been a champion, you've coached great people like Kamaru Usman, you're still fighting at your age, you're an analyst in the UFC. And I get young fighters asking me all the time, what's one piece of advice? Somebody asked me at the weekend. I was actually at the Masvidal versus Diaz fight. It was the guy walking me back to the VIP area where Rampage was actually. He looked a little heavy. he looked bigger than you. And that guy said, I'm an up-and-coming boxer. What's one piece of advice? And I was with my brother-in-law, and he laughed his head off when I gave the advice. He's like, that's the worst advice ever. I said, make sure you stretch. Make sure you focus on your recovery. And the guy was like, that's it? I'm like, well, dude, obviously, if you want to do this, you're going to push yourself. You're going to train. But make sure you focus on the recovery. And my brother-in-law was laughing, going, that is the least exciting advice he expected. But what would you say, Rashad?
No, that's very important. That's one up there. But I would say, enjoy the process and whatever that process may be. Sometimes that process takes different forms in the amount you got to train, the times you got to train, the rest you got to take, or just dealing with the media of the event. Those are the times in my career where I can say I didn't enjoy it the most. The anticipation before the fight sometimes got to me, and I didn't live in enough of those moments. And when you truly live in those moments, the results are going to be what it's going to be, but you're truly getting the most out of that experience. And when you get the most out of the experience, you're able to bring more of yourself. So I would say just be all the way dialed in.
Yeah, that reminds me of a conversation that I had with Anthony on Monday. Obviously, we just fought and came up short in his last fight. And he was talking about that, saying how he's not enjoying the process.
Yeah.
And he just wants the fun part, and I'm like, well, dude, you don't get to have the fun unless you do all the hard work. You've been you've had some ups, a lot of ups, mainly ups. Towards the end of your UFC run, there was some downs, shall we say politely. What's some advice you would give to Anthony right now?
I would say he has to redefine his why. Why is he doing it at this point? And reestablish that hunger in that why, if that hunger is there. Because here's the thing about it: when he's been in the sport for a long time, he's got over 50 something fights, and he's had a lot of success in that, right? But there becomes a time where you can't draw on that same pool forever. You can't draw from that same well. You got to be able to dig a new well of this is why I'm doing this, and be able to frame it in that context. Because when you're going out there and you got guys who've never had a taste of what you had, and idealistically speaking, their ambition of what it may be is so overpowering that they'll walk through fire to get there. And that's what you gotta meet across the cage. So at the end of the day, your will has got to be strong enough to handle going there against anybody's will. And that comes from that why. So he just got to go and tap into that why. He needs to go and just maybe sit down with himself and just, get deep. You know what I'm saying? Maybe drop a few grams of mushrooms to see what's really going on.
I'm glad you brought that up. So get deep. Come on, Rashad. What is getting deep? And if he was to take a few grams of mushrooms, where I was, what would happen to me? Where would I go? Come on. Because I need to get deep. You see me now. I'm always acting the fool. I said to myself this morning, because I'm always a dickhead on the podcast. I'm like, right, okay. Just maybe this time I'm going to bring the energy down a bit. I'm not going to be as silly. I'm not going to be as foolish. But I can't help it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a fool or the class clown. But so I'm going to go on a mission. I'm going to take some mushrooms. What's going to happen, Rashad? Where will I be at the end of my journey?
Well, hopefully somewhere good. Hopefully you made it through that rough part that can be part of the trip sometimes. You know, when you're battling that feeling of hanging on to who you think you really are and truly letting go. And it's in that letting go process that you realize that letting go is the most liberating thing that you can do. And a lot of the tension that we have in life and the stresses that we have in life is because we're holding on. And sometimes we don't even realize how tight that we're holding on. But it was when you're able to let go and just relax and trust in the fact that everything is going to be okay, then you can see on the other side. And then you can find that silver lining in that dark cloud. And, you know, it all depends on the grams you take now too. You know what I'm saying? You get a little deep, but at the end of the day, it's you discovering yourself. And I feel that can be overstated enough. You know, we get glimpses of finding ourselves and looking in ourselves whenever we got to have that moment of combat where we got to walk. You know, we got to walk that green mile to the cage, right? And we get that very introspective feeling. But you know, there's more behind it, and you can dive deeper into it and really uncover some things and just truly just expose the fear for what it is. And once you expose the fear for what it is, it can't live in you anymore.
That's this very, very good words. Let me ask you this though, Rashad, because the version of you that I see now that I'm talking to you is very different to the 2014 or when was that fight? 2014? No.
Yeah, no.
2010?
Like 10, 10. Yeah.
Very different to the 2010 version. So would, you know, the psychedelics and the for want of a better expression, you know, I'm always silly. There's no disrespect. The kumbaya-ness of it all, would that coincide with trying to whoop someone's ass in the UFC? Do you see the juxtaposition?
Yeah, no, you know, it is a juxtaposition, but when it comes down to it, it's coming down to the understanding of who you are, right? And that's what it's about. And who I am is that's what I like. That's what's fun to me. That's what excites me. So clearing up that path, mentally speaking, as far as getting some of that dirty laundry out of my life and mental baggage out of my life, that was able to go, and the drive to want to compete got stronger because now I was more crystal clear about why I was competing. It wasn't due to any trauma. It wasn't due to, you know, me being mad about this. It was about one thing. It was about me pushing myself as hard as I can because you know what? I'm sick like that. And that's what I find fun, you know? And I made it personal, and making it personal is a fuel that's inexhaustible because when I was using other sources of fuel, just anger and stuff that I had from the past, I found myself, you know, running out because as you go through life teaches you. And as you learn through life, you learn to forgive and you learn to work past a lot of the traumas that you have.
Yeah, that's it's very deep, but it's perfect words. It really is, and I'm sure a lot of young people listening to this right now hopefully take advantage of what you're saying. Rashad, you had a legendary career, Ultimate Fighter 2. You knocked out Chuck Liddell. You became champion of the world. You coached the Ultimate Fighter against Rampage Jackson. So you guys have a lot of history. What was the peak, the highlight, or the most personal, satisfying victory for you? And don't say when you beat me, because it wasn't. No, when you whooped my ass in Newark. But
that was one of the scariest fights. I'll be honest.
No, but like a personal victory at the end. I mean, because the obvious choice is when you became the champion. But for you, what was the big one?
You know, it was the fight that I fought Chuck Liddell, and it's not so much because of the way the fight ended. It was more or less because that was really one of the first times that I wasn't able to to conquer the fear that I had, like, you know, the anxiety and the anticipation of the fight, and you get it every single time we fight, but sometimes it's more manageable than others. And then that fight was really my first time not being able to manage it, and finding a way to work through that. Once I was like completely an emotional wreck going into that fight, I felt really proud of myself because I felt as if like I grew as a person. And that's one of the best things about a fight in general, is that, you know, people look at the physical side of it and things like that and be like, man, that was awesome. But for me, every single one of my fights, it was very symbolic in a growth that I had internally speaking as a person. And, you know, that fight, I felt as if like I grew so much as a person that it leveled me up in a way, in belief in myself, that I never had. And it was something that just kind of stuck with me as a person. It was really one of those moments where it was like, dude, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And it was just kind of it was like one of those moments where you know, when you're in it, you don't really catch a true glimpse of how far you've come. But that was one of those moments that I was able to catch a glimpse, because I remember when I was coming into the UFC and I first got onto the Ultimate Fighter show and I won that show, I had one of my best friends, Craig Waldeck. He's like, so you mean to tell me that you're going to fight against Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, you're going to get killed. And it kind of stuck with me, because I'm just like, at that point, I was so happy to be in the UFC. I wasn't really even thinking about the competition like that. And it never dawned on me that in people's mind that these people are so big that they can't get beat. And when I beat them, I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, no, and I totally resonate with that, because me personally, and by the sounds of it, yourself and a lot of other fighters, we kind of have this imposter syndrome, you know, because we look at these people, we put them on a pedestal, we see them on TV, you know, and then all of a sudden we're in there and I'm like, oh shit, we're really doing this. We're really winning. Like when we fought, sorry to bring it up again, but that was my first loss. And when I was so happy, kind of going the distance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, well, I went to a decision with Rashad Evans, because I watched you on The Ultimate Fighter season 2. So I was like, shit, this Rashad Evans, he's the wrestler. You can't compete with the wrestler. I'm like, well, I did okay. Do you know? And my manager at the time was like, what the f*** are you talking about? You just can't beat. Your career's down the toilet. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with a close fight, you know. But I think it's remarkable for people to hear stuff like that. I can hear the birds tweeting. Sounds like you're in paradise.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the baby birds that I got. It's the baby birds that I got.
What kind of birds? Never mind the product. I want to hear about the birds.
Chickens.
Can you show me?
Huh? They're in a little tent right now. They're like in a little. Let's see here.
My wife is obsessed with birds.
No, they're still like in their infancy stage here. They're just barely. They're just barely getting around. They're too small to be on their own right now, so they're just in the little love tent.
you're raising your own eggs and stuff like that. That's the idea.
That's the idea, man. That's where I want to go with it, man. That's what we had about 8 chickens before, and the way it works out here, man, it just, you don't keep your chickens long. Sometimes they get snatched up by all kinds of foxes and everything else out here.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do. We're talking about moving somewhere like North Carolina, starting a farm.
Oh, you listen, Mike. Listen, you have to do it. You can for the kind of money you pay in LA, bro. Listen, you would be living high on the hog out here. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, my wife's like, she wants bees, she wants goats, she wants pigs, she wants chickens, she wants to grow all these vegetables and all the rest of it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just go along for the ride. But you're right. The finances, that sounds very appealing.
I mean, listen, when you don't got to pay all those taxes, bro.
They just raised them again yesterday in California for small business owners, because I've got the UFC gym, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's hard enough just to keep the place open, because we're like, I mean, like the gym's got a lot of members, but it's like, it's hard. Rashad, all chickens aside, Umbo. Tell me about Umbo. What is this drink?
So Umbo is a functional mushroom company that I'm a part of. I'm partners with Jake Plummer, the former cornerback for for the Denver Broncos, Arizona Cardinals, and also Del Jolly. We're founders in the company. And we started the company just because of the benefits that we had from the functional mushrooms, not the medicinal, not the crazy ones, but the lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, the ones that have no psychoactive effect. So we started this company, and we had a few different SKUs. One of them was this really good nutritious bar. It's a mushroom bar, has like 15 like a bunch of different mushrooms in it, lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, and it's like 1,500 milligrams of mushrooms in it. Then we had capsules, and we came out with the drink as of lately. It's a Myco Rise and a Myco Rest. It's like the recovery type thing, because our main thing is we're pushing the active, but we were using the mushrooms for that, using the cordyceps and their like opponents, different mushrooms that work together with that. And then we have the Myco Rest, which is for after you get done from working out. It's more of something to kind of help you, get into rest and relaxation and things like that to help you down cycle a bit.
Nice. Yeah, I see a lot of these products, and I'm starting to delve into this kind of stuff myself. Not that you're pitching to me or anything, but if you were on Dragon's Den, no, that's the UK version. If you were on what's it called, Shark Tank right now, what makes your product stand out over the competitors?
Well, I mean, what makes us stand out is the fact that we tried to take more of an athletic approach with our formulations and things like that, because me and Jake are athletes, and we wanted something in the mushroom space, but we wanted to be more speak to the athletes and what we need. We need a little bit extra when it comes to things that can make us move and things that can help us with balancing out the inflammation, balancing out that lactic acid that builds up and things like that. So we try to put mushrooms together that really work and really speak to, the athletic body and what the athletic body needs during competition.
Okay. Well, I'm sold. I'll invest $200,000, 10%. Umbo.com.
Umbo.com. Yep. And if you can go and you can check out, we got Bisping is a code offer. So if you guys go and you put in Bisping, you'll get a discount.
Lastly, what are you weighing right now, Rashad? Because you're getting smaller and smaller every time I see you.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, I look like I'm a lot smaller, but I'm around like 220, 225.
Okay.
So I'm still heavier. The thing is, I don't lift any weights, so all the weight is kind of carried in my lower part.
That's what makes the power.
That's the power right there.
It's all in the ass. So Rampage, he's gonna get knocked out or what?
I'm not gonna talk crazy yet. I gotta start going through camp and see how I feel. But I mean, I'm gonna walk his ass down. We can put that on. We can put that on a record. Okay, I'm gonna
dog walk Rampage. Amazing, Rashad. Always great talking to you, buddy. I'll see you on the road soon. All the best with everything, and thanks again.
Thank you, my man. Take care. Peace.
My man. Take care.